Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips and maybe some ways to maximize the Z Fold 6 for yourself and your usage. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about, and the first tip I guess, is controlling individual app volumes. So what I mean by this is normally when you control your volume on your phone, it's going to control the volume overall. But let's say you're playing a game and you're listening to music at the same time. In the past, before I used Samsung phones, I would just mute the game volume in the settings. I'll go to settings in the game, turn off the volume. But with Samsung devices and good luck, you can actually control the individual volumes. So for example, here I have Minecraft. I can turn up the volume on Minecraft, and then I can lower the volume on YouTube Music or YouTube itself as well. And so I can adjust the volume dynamically and kind of mix it in a sense so that, let's say I want the game volume to still be on, so I can go into game settings and I can turn off the music in the game. So let's say I just want the game sound effects but not the music. Then I can turn off the music in the game, and then I can press the volume button to access my volume, turn Minecraft all the way to like 64%, or I could turn Minecraft to 100%, and then go into the three dots and put my music to like 50%. So now Minecraft is at the top and my music is at 50%. Or I can, obviously you might not want that kind of ratio. So you can just do it reverse, lower Minecraft and raise your music up, etc. And this works with any app. So it just makes it really nice for, playing games while listening to music or a podcast in the background. Or if you're doing multiple things, like let's say you're playing two games for some reason. I don't do that, but there are people who do that kind of use case. So then you can have both of the games running and mix their volume to your need, just to make it sound better and not like have two sounds clashing, overlapping, or not to have both the games muted. So like for a game like TFT, you don't necessarily need to be super active in it all the time. So I can have it at the top and then play Minecraft. I'm super active in Minecraft, and occasionally I'll do something in TFT in between the rounds. And so maybe I'll have TFT's volume at like 10%. So that way I can hear when it's time to do something in the game. Like there will be like a bell, like dun, and then I can know that it's time to do something in the game. And then Minecraft will be a little bit higher, then YouTube Music will be even higher than both of them. So I can hear that, the forefront of the audio, if that makes sense. And just to show you how you can actually enable this feature, you gotta get Good Lock. It's the app in the Galaxy Store. And then you're gonna go to Life Up right here. And you're gonna go down to Sound Assistant, and then you're gonna choose individual app volumes. And then boom. Once you enable this, you can add apps to this, and then you can control those app volumes individually. So it's a really nice functionality right here. Alright, so the next tip I'm going to show you has to do with the taskbar. So normally the taskbar is always here, but then you can also tap and hold to dismiss the taskbar, or tap and hold to bring it back. But the way that I have mine set up is when I'm in split screen, so let's say, I drag internet at the bottom and I'm in split screen, now my taskbar automatically disappears. But then if I go back to single screen, my taskbar comes back. So the way I have it set up is like I like to use the taskbar when it's just one app. But if I'm, split screening and I want to use all of the app, then I like to, make the taskbar go away, and it does that automatically. So you can actually customize this setting. If you go into Good Lock, then you're gonna go to Multi-Star in Life Up, go to iHeart Foldable, then you go to Advanced Features, multi-window, and full screen and split screen view. So this is what makes it full screen when you're in split screen. So let's say I turn that off, then I go into split screen. Now the taskbar is still here, and you got the boxing up here at the top as well for the notifications and Wi-Fi and all that stuff. But if you want that off, then you just turn on full screen and split screen, and then boom, now you have the full screen for split screen, which is really nice. And then if you want to further customize your taskbar functionality as well, you can go to display, and then you can go to taskbar down here. You can turn it on and off. You can choose up to 4 apps for recent view, like on the side for apps that are not on your taskbar. You can also turn this on to show and hide with the tap and touch. So if you turn that off, then it will always be there unless you have the full screen in split screen view. So this is something that I really enjoy for customizing my taskbar. So another tip that a lot of people might not know about, if this is your first time using a Fold or you don't customize your Android devices that much, is customize the DPI of the screen. So what you want to do is enable developer options. And the way you do that is by going to About Phone, going to software, and then tapping on the build number. I think it's like 5 times. And then you put in your PIN, and then you enable developer options. And then in developer options, you're going to scroll down. There's a lot of cool stuff here, but you're going to scroll down to this right here. So minimum width, and you're going to see 412 dp. depending on like what your screen zoom is set to. And basically you can increase the size of your screen to show more things on the screen, if that makes sense. So now I put it to 800. You can see everything is really small and it's just showing like a lot, like it's a tablet basically. So if I go in the browser, it's gonna show me like a lot more than I normally would see on this phone. Especially if you rotate it like this, you got a bigger view. Go to the YouTube app, and now the YouTube app is looking like the tablet version of the app. So if I go into video, it's like this, and you have this layout right here with the playables, whatever that is. So yeah, it's a different view. In Notion, now you can see like everything versus how it used to be. And you can mess around with the minimum width, so it doesn't have to be 800. Let's say I go down to like maybe like 600. You can chill around 600 minimum DPI, and it's a little bit bigger than it was before. So now I get still, more things viewable on the screen, a more comfortable browsing experience. And for certain apps, when you increase the DP, you get the tablet versions of those apps. Normally with these phones, it's just Android kind of blown up on a bigger screen. So if you increase the DP, then it switches over to the tablet version of those apps. And it just gives you a little bit more space, like I said. However, obviously it's going to make things smaller than what you're used to. So it has its benefits for sure. Like I said, you can mess around with that and find a sweet spot for you. Let's try 520. So this is what 520 looks like. Go to the internet browser, and it's still a decent experience compared to how it is by default. I'm gonna show you YouTube real quick. So now I'm just getting 2 lines, but as you can see, the playables thing is gone, so it's not the tablet layout anymore. And then I'll just go back to the default. If you want to reset this, then you just gotta go back to your display and then go to screen layout and zoom. Then all you gotta do is just change this, and it'll go back to how it was normally. So if I go back to developer options and then go back to minimum width, and it's back to 412, and that's what it was at normally. So let me just go back to the internet browser to show you comparison now. So without adjusting my display DP, it looks like this, and it's still not a bad experience. Obviously, this is why you buy this phone, right? To have a bigger screen to do stuff by default. But yeah, adjusting that just gives you some options. So now let's get on to the next one. So the next tip that I want to talk about is the Flexmode panel. So you might know about Flexmode. So if you're watching a video on YouTube, there are certain apps that support Flexmode by default. You go in the app, you rotate your phone, put it in this orientation, then a Flexmode panel will show up, and you have different controls depending on the app. So I can scrub through YouTube, I can play, pause, forward, backwards, save, I can adjust the speed, I can I can adjust the stable volume, and then you can swipe down this menu, and then you have the comment section perfectly split across the screen. So now it's like a little laptop, a little layout. I can respond to comments at the same time while watching the video, etc. That's how Flexmode normally works with apps that support it. Like for example, in the gallery app, you have this little touchpad that comes up, and then you can swipe through your photos at the bottom as well, and you can play and pause and stuff. But Flexmode itself is not the tip. The tip is the Flexmode panel. So you go into advanced features, then go to Flexmode panel, and you can turn this on. So you can set it to auto show for certain apps. So let's say I put it for Samsung Internet. So if I go in Samsung Internet right now, then Flexmode panel will automatically pop up, and then boom. Let me just go back to it for a sec. And then you also have the scroll wheel position, so you can put it on the right or left, or you can turn it off in general. And then you can learn about the touchpad gestures as well. But basically, Flexmode panel gives flex mode to any app. So normally most apps don't support flex mode. If you just bend it, it's just going to be the screen, and it's going to look warped going across the whole screen while it's bent. But flex mode panel cuts it in half, and it gives you this little panel right here, and you can do different things. So the normal layout is a touchpad, which is cool. It's like a little laptop, and that it actually feels very smooth, very responsive. You can do gestures and all that stuff, as you saw in the demo. You can tap and hold to select things, and it just works really well. It's literally like a little laptop. And then of course, if you're browsing the internet, you want to type something, the keyword will pop up, so I can type like a little laptop. But then what makes Flexmode panel cool is you also have this scroll wheel right here. So if you don't want to scroll with 2 fingers like that, you can do this. Then you got your volume control, you got your brightness slider. You can bring down the notification shade very easily with 1 button. You can turn Flexmode panel into another app for a split screen if you're done using it like that. Then you can also adjust it. So you can drag, let's say I want this one out here, the touchpad setting. Then I can bring that out, and then now I can turn the touchpad on and off quickly or I can bring back the volume, or I can take out screenshots. So you got some different options of customization with the Flexmode panel. What makes it cool beyond this feature right here, using it like a little laptop, because I know a lot of people won't do this necessarily, is the fact that it gives all your media apps a Flexmode panel like YouTube. So you saw YouTube's default layout, how it has this built in, right? And I said before that not every app has that kind of Flexmode panel. So now with other apps, like for example Crunchyroll, you can go and watch some anime and then put your phone into flex mode, and then boom, the flex mode panel will be here. So if you don't have it set to turn on by default in certain apps, a little icon will come up and then you just tap that icon to open it. And now you have a similar layout like you do with the YouTube app. So I can scrub through the video or the anime or the show or whatever I'm watching, Netflix, Disney Plus, Crunchyroll, whatever you're watching, you can scrub through, even internet browser. Then you can skip by 10. You can, move forward or reverse. You can skip the episode or go backwards. So you have your media controls, but in a layout that's more easier to use and interact with versus like touching on the screen and like, trying to make it show up and stuff like that. And then the nice thing about this is you can angle the screen. So now if you're, not necessarily sitting at a desk or you're not necessarily holding in your hand, you can angle your phone screen so that you can see the video more easily while you're doing other things and walking around your desk or whatever it is. So that's why flex mode is nice, and the flex mode panel just enables that even further. Okay, so the next tip is for gaming. So if you're somebody who plays games and you have a Z Fold, then you might have noticed that games don't always fit the screen that well. So for example, if I go into TFT, so this is actually one of the more playable games, even though it doesn't fit the screen perfectly. But as you can see, like things are getting cut off, like the text here, the map is not fully on the screen. As you progress into the game and there's more things on the screen, touching things on the screen is not as precise as you would want it to be. Like you can definitely mistap or something like that because of how it's laid out on this screen right here, because it doesn't fit the screen normally. So one tip that I have for gaming on the Z Fold 6 and foldable phones in general is just playing in split screen. So that way you get a more normal aspect ratio. You can also enjoy the big screen in a different way. So for example, instead of playing full screen like this, I can split screen with 2-finger swipe, or other ways like dragging and dropping. So let's say I put YouTube, and then now I have YouTube on top and TFT at the bottom. So now this is a lot more normal layout. Like everything just functions properly how it's supposed to. For all games that you would play on a phone, this size of a screen will work properly no matter what. So if you're having trouble with like the game just not looking good on the big screen, it's not laid out properly, it's zoomed in too much, things are getting cut off in the UI, then just open it in split screen and play like this. You can also adjust it to make it a little bit bigger to take more advantage of the screen, and it will still have a better layout than the full screen. And then you can watch videos, you can read Reddit. Like let's say I have my text messages up and then I also have YouTube right there. So now I can watch a video while responding to text messages, or I can have WhatsApp and text open so that I can respond to people that I'm playing the game with, and we can coordinate that way and stuff like that, or Discord or whatever it is. So there's a lot of functionality with this kind of layout, even though you don't get the full screen for playing the game. So if you're having compatibility issues with the aspect ratio and the layout of the game, I definitely recommend trying to play it in split screen. And the beauty about split screen on Samsung phones is like you're not locked to one orientation or one specific layout. So like now I rotated it like this, I get more horizontal view, which means that games like Wild Rift and stuff like that will show like more of the map. You have a better time with the camera and stuff like that to see your enemies and move the camera around. And then you can also increase it. So now this is a pretty big screen for, a game like Wild Rift or a game like TFT, but it's a lot longer and wider. So now it just fits better and it takes more advantage of the bigger screen without cutting off the UI and the map and stuff like that. So split screen is unlimited on this phone. You can do so many different things. And like I said, you can have text, you can have Reddit, you can have the internet browser, and you can adjust the sizes how you want. Some games like Pokemon Unite might give you trouble though. In order to make sure that the game works fine, you just want to open the game while you're already in the split screen mode. So what I mean by that is, so for Pokemon Unite, I'm just going to open Pokemon Unite while this layout is already here. If I already have Pokemon Unite open, then I drag and drop another app to go into split screen, then Pokemon Unite will break. And if I readjust the size of it, Pokemon Unite will also break. So I'm going to show you an example of that. Okay, so here's an example. Because I adjusted the size of the split screen, Pokemon Unite is displaying weird. But if you open the game in the layout that you have already, then this will not happen. So I'm gonna close this split screen session, and then I have it saved right here. So I'm just gonna open it back up. And because it's opening in the layout already, then Pokemon Unite will not bug out and glitch like that. So you want to make sure you open the game in the layout first before playing Pokemon Unite. Certain games, they just have compatibility issues like that. And you also cannot rotate it. Otherwise, Pokemon Unite will break as well. Like that. But so far, this is the only game I've seen that has this issue with playing in split screen. All the other games I play, they just dynamically adjust and work well with no issues. So that's just something to note. But overall, playing games in split screen is definitely a tip that can help you have a better gaming experience on a Z Fold, because the aspect ratio is not made for gaming. It's not a 16:9 type aspect ratio, or like closer to a normal smartphone. So you'll have compatibility issues. So split screen is definitely there for that. The next tip I have is Samsung apps and widgets. So I encourage you, if you have a Samsung device, to just mess around with Samsung apps and widgets, because first of all, the widgets are super tough. So if I edit the widget right here, I can go to settings and I can make the widget transparent. I think that's pretty cool. And then there's also different customizations. Like I can pin important notes or important reminders to the top. I can show completed reminders. I can sort it by alert time, or so many different ways I can sort it. This is the widget for the reminder app. And then I could just adjust the transparency. So I like this look of transparency being set to 0. So now it's like there's nothing there. It's just the text. I like that. It's a clean look. Goes well with the icon pack that I'm using, which is Retro Mode Lite on the Play Store. You can go find that if you want. And yeah, so just mess around with the Samsung apps. I encourage people to do that, because I think a lot of people don't take in how good these apps actually are. And like I said, the widgets are just really cool. So screen on time, same thing. I can make it transparent. Then I got the alarm clock, transparent. I got the weather app, transparent. My steps for the health app, transparent. Even the Samsung calendar app, you can have it transparent on your home screen, which I think is really, really cool. So for example, I go to it, it's here, and now I can just make it transparent, and boom. Now I got the calendar on my home screen. And another cool feature while we're on the calendar is you can literally mark up the calendar. So let's say I got, important thing going on right here. I can draw a circle. I can go to the circle and put like doc appointment or something like that. Something like that. Or I can go to the 13th and put like play date for my daughter. So something like that. I can literally mark up the calendar and all that stuff. And the cool thing is, it will show normally in the calendar app, but it also shows up on the widget. Like, I think that's super sick functionality. So a lot of the Samsung apps, they have low-key cool functionality. Like, for example, the reminders app linking directly to the notes app. So if I go to this one right here, then I can see the notes app, and then boom, it brings me to the note where I was planning that reminder specifically. So yeah, the Samsung apps are just really clean, a lot of functionality, a lot of hidden features that I don't think people take into account. And one last thing I'll show you with the Samsung Internet Browser is just the customization of the Internet Browser itself. You can download plugins. I have an ad blocker plugin and useful features, like for example, background play. So if a video is playing in the background on the Samsung Internet Browser, you can set it to only play in the headphones or the external speakers. That's so cool. You can open app links in the browser instead of going to the app itself. So for example, if I go to Reddit, like I'm Google searching it, and then the Reddit link comes up and I go to see what the Reddit thread is saying, I rather just view in the browser than for it to open up the app itself. If I want to open up the app, then I'll do that myself. So for example, you can tap this icon to open the app manually rather than it doing automatically. So setting it so that the links open up in the browser itself is just a really nice feature for me. You can also bring down the bars to the bottom. So instead of reaching to the top of the screen like you would on a laptop or a computer, you can reach down here. I think Safari also has this feature on iPhones. So it's just nice to have everything at the bottom, easy to reach. You can customize, how your tabs are shown. You can edit them, customize the layout and the menu, and just like what things are here. And there's just so many features that you can use with the Samsung Internet Browser, like forcing dark mode on websites that don't have dark mode and things like that. It's just a lot of cool things. So the Samsung apps are very underrated. I think you should definitely give them a chance, check them out. Some of them are not on the phone by default, like the email app, the music app, and other apps. So just make sure you check them out. I think you could have a good time if you give them a chance to learn the features. All right, so the next tip I'm going to give you is 2-in-1. So this is the app drawer. I know a lot of people don't like Samsung's app drawer because it is a horizontal swiping app drawer and not a vertical. But take advantage of this app drawer. I think it's pretty cool. So basically how I have mine laid out is that I have different folders for different types of apps. And I'm just going to show you some new apps that I downloaded. I'm going to put them in those folders. So Kijiji, this is a buying and selling app. So I'm going to put it in shopping. Google Fit, I'm going to put that in life stuff. This is a camera app. I'm going to put that in, let's say, work. This one is also the same thing. Remote desktop, put that in work. Threads in socials. So basically, the way that I have my apps laid out in my app drawer is just in folders, so that it's easy to quickly find different apps that I might need depending on what kind of app I need. So for example, if I need a social media app, I go to socials and it's there. If I need an internet browser app, I go here. And the way that I have my app drawer sorted is by alphabetical order. So you got B, C, C, D, E, F, F, G. So alphabetical order. So for example, if I know I'm trying to find something in customization, then I know that customization starts with a C, obviously. So it should be earlier in the list. So it's right here. And then I can find something. I know a lot of people don't like this app drawer, but I feel like the fact that you can put apps in folders is just really nice. And even when you're in the app, so let's say I'm in the app, then I got my taskbar here. If I open up the app drawer to find the app from the taskbar, now everything is organized in folders. It's very easy to find things. You could always search, which is fine too, but I like to just have things organized, so it's just boom, boom. I can find something very easily. And having it organized in folders like that allows me to not have my home screen cluttered if I don't want to. Right now I have some folders here, but sometimes I don't have any apps on my home screen at all when I try different layouts. And this organization method just allows me to do that even more because I can organize but still have it off of my home screen. And then you can also do the same thing with your edge panel as well. So different folders for your edge panel. And then when I said 2-in-1, this is the other part of it, and the fact that you can customize the color of your folders. So I can change the folder color, and you can go pretty in depth with the color, like it's swatches and spectrum and stuff like that. So you can go hard and find the color that you want. But what I personally like, so I'll just show you an example. This is like blue, but personally I like to have my color set to transparent. So it continues with that theme of transparency. So now it's like they're in folders, but the folders are not necessarily there. There's no border around the apps in the folders. So depending on what wallpaper I use, so let's say I change my wallpaper here. Change wallpaper. Let's just do like a different color. I'll go with this. So now I'm using this blue wallpaper, and now my transparent folders are just like it's transparent. So now the wallpaper shines through the app icons and everything. So I think it's a pretty cool look, and you can do different things and use so many different wallpapers with this kind of aesthetic and look. So just to recap, customizing the folder color and the transparency, and also the app drawers, putting your apps in folders and organizing it by alphabetical order can help you just access your apps very fast and easy. Alright, so the last tip in this video that I will share is this. So swipe down to access my notifications. Basically, in your notification shade, any notification that you get from your apps, you can tap and hold that notification and turn that app into a split screen to, go straight to that notification that popped up. You can do split screen, or you can do floating window, and you can even put it in the orientation that you want. So let's say I want to split half of the screen, then I would put it here, or I can put it at the bottom to do a top and bottom split, or in the middle for floating window, and then boom. Now, certain kinds of notifications actually don't allow you to enter into multitasking from the notification shade. So like for example, this notification does not support dragging to split screen, but for the most part, most of the notifications you will get on your phone will work for this. So let's say you're getting a message on Facebook Messenger, you can tap and hold that notification and drag it into a floating window, and then boom, 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 respond to the message. You can push the floating window off to the side, bring it back, continue responding to messages. You can minimize it if you want, and it's just always there until you get rid of it. You can make it easier to grab. You can customize the transparency of the floating window so that you can see what's behind the floating window. Then you can exit it, readjust the size of it. So you can do a lot with floating windows, and I feel like grabbing from the notification shade just makes it so much nicer and easier to, quickly deal with something that comes up when you're doing something else. So yeah, just maximize the screen and the multitasking on this device. There's so many things you can do. And yeah, let me know what kinds of tips you want to know in future videos, and let me know if I should make another one of these videos, because I got a lot more things that I can show you about this phone and Samsung devices in general. But that is all for this video. We are out. Peace.